Hi K-Astrology family, welcome back, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Cailin, and on K-Astrology I post all kinds of content related to astrology, tarot, spirituality and occult knowledge. So if this kind of content interests you, please subscribe to my channel. You can also find me on Instagram, where I'm very active, on Twitter and on Facebook as well. This month I'm going to be doing a new series on all 12 astrological signs and how the astrological events of October are going to impact those signs. So please watch your ascendant sign video, otherwise known as your rising sign, first and foremost, ahead of sun or moon signs. Despite the fact that you may identify more with your moon sign or your sun sign, you will get the most accurate reading if you watch my ascendant sign video. By all means, you can watch all three, but if you're only going to watch one today, watch your ascendant sign video. So for the month of October, it's pretty jam-packed full of lots of things going on. The most important one, I think, is that we're starting to feel the effects of the Mercury retrograde pre-shadow period, which is always about 2 weeks-ish before Mercury actually stations retrograde. That will be on the 14th of October. But you'll definitely be feeling those energies from the beginning of October. You might even feel that from the end of September. I've certainly been feeling that myself. And anyone who's a Gemini rising or Virgo rising, sun or moon, you will feel that more strongly than anyone else, as will Scorpio for this month. So with Mercury being in retrograde until November the 4th or 5th, you are going to find that exes are going to be popping up out of the woodwork, whether that's ex-partners, ex-friends, or people who used to be in your life. It doesn't have to necessarily have ended on bad terms, but you'll just find that people start messaging you out of the blue or calling you out of the blue to catch up or just to chat. And that's going to have a big impact on wherever you have Scorpio in your birth chart. That is where Mercury will be transiting. For the rest of the month, we will also be seeing Pluto turning direct on the 4th of November, and we're going to see 2 full moons this month, a full moon in Aries on the 1st of October and a full moon in Taurus on the 31st of October. And in addition to that, Venus will be in Virgo for almost the entire month. And we've got a couple of other things happening in the month as well. So enough of the preamble, I'll get into the individual videos now. So make sure you are watching the right video for you. And like I said earlier, you can definitely watch all 3 for your sun, moon and rising. Hi Aries, sun, moon or rising. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope you enjoy what I have to share with you for this month ahead. October is going to be pretty jam-packed, especially for you guys, because your ruling planet, which is Mars, is still retrograde, and it's retrograde the whole month of October, and it won't be going direct until the 13th of November. So at the moment, you are building towards some kind of climax when it comes to rediscovering what you enjoy, what makes you feel attractive, because the first house is the physical body, and it's also the head as well. So you've probably been working a lot on your physique, and you've probably been doing a lot of, I don't want to say soul searching, but just making sure that you're actually loving what you're doing, and you feel a lot of passion and joy on the course that you're on, with the life purpose that you're following. And if that hasn't been bringing you joy and satisfaction since the 9th of September, which is when Mars stationed retrograde, that is when all of these ideas and concerns surrounding whether you're actually happy in what you're doing, that's when everything sort of got thrown up for you, and you might not have even realized that you were discontent or not happy with where you are. Even if you're really happy with where you are in life, you're starting to like tweak your goals, tweak your ambitions, pivot and change direction. You might have even had a huge change of direction when it comes to what you want to do with your life. And if you are in the right career or the right industry, you might have just done like a 180-degree turn, and you're following one course and you're like, nah, that's not working for me. I've had a total change of mind and I'm going to pursue something else. And in true Aries fashion, you've got the horns first, ramming your head towards whatever you want to do, and it hasn't been working out that well, has it? It's been a struggle, hasn't it? And it's been a struggle because your planet is retrograde, and whenever a planet is retrograde, it takes 3 times more effort to execute the action that you're trying to take. And with Mars, which is the planet of action, it's been really tough to move in a straight direction, and that is what you're used to. And with this Capricorn stellium, which means we've got 3 planets in Capricorn making a square, which is a 90-degree aspect to your ruling planet, this has just basically caused a lot of frustration and blockages and tensions running high, and you haven't been able to express yourself in the way that you want to, or you haven't been able to pursue the direction that you've wanted to go in. And with the stellium being in your 10th house, which is ruled by Capricorn anyway, you're finding that a lot of the pushback or obstacles or issues that you've been encountering have actually come from top management. It might be like bureaucratic in nature. It might be that, you know, how your industry, your organization, your company is structured is not allowing you to just move in, like I said, that direct line that you want to go towards. There's basically just been obstacle after obstacle, hurdle after hurdle. But the good news is on the 28th of September, Saturn stationed direct in Capricorn, which means that Saturn is no longer retrograde. And we've also got Pluto stationing direct in Capricorn on the 4th of October. So you're finally going to see things, I don't want to say move more smoothly because they won't, but let's just say if things had come to a grinding halt, now that's starting to ease. We're still moving slowly because, you know, Capricorn and especially Saturn wants you to do everything by the book, one step at a time, go one level at a time. But, you know, at least things aren't at a total standstill anymore, which is great. Now, if it's not, if this sense of inner frustration and, you know, your tension's running high, if that's got nothing to do with things on a material level to do with, with your boss or top management or whatever, it could be more how you view yourself, because the 1st house is what you self-identify with, and the 10th house is your reputation. It's not just your vocation or your career, it's a public reputation, and perhaps this new direction that you've wanted to take has thrown a lot of, spanners in the works for how you will feel about yourself in relation to, what's the world going to think of me if I do this, or how are people going to react, or how am I going to look? How am I going to look if I take this position to the public? And is that good for my reputation? Is this a good move? Well, Aries, only you know the answer to that. And I think that after the full moon in Aries, which is on the 1st of October, these issues will be illuminated for you, all right? But it's not going to be easy because it's conjunct Chiron. And Chiron is the wounded spiritual healer in Greek mythology, but in astrology, Chiron is an asteroid. So seeing as you've got the full moon in Aries, the moon representing your subconscious and your emotional self, conjunct the spiritual wound or the emotional wound, which is buried deep in the subconscious, which you carry, I think you are going to experience a release of some sort around this full moon on the 1st. It could be a couple days before, or even a couple weeks after. It could very well see you through to the end of the month on the 31st, which is when we have the next full moon. But in any case, you have to do some release work, because this is happening in your 1st house. So you need to purge and release these issues with how you self-identify, and you really, try not to see things from just this perspective of, oh, what are other people going to think? And I know, Aries, you like to say that you don't care what other people think of you, but that's not true. You have Libra on the descendant, and with Libra in the 7th house, which is your shadow self, the shadow side of you is that you want everyone to like you. You want everyone to love what you're doing and appreciate you and give you a pat on the back and tell you that you're doing a great job, and you are doing a great job. But the key for this full moon in Aries on the 1st is to fully let go of this need for people to approve of what you're doing. Even if you don't say it out loud, deep down, let me just say this. If you're watching this video now going, I don't resonate with that, I really don't care, that is where your Chiron in Aries retrograde is asking you to look deeper, look beneath the pride and the tough exterior, because we all have, a soft inner center, which is our emotional self. So if you can admit that to yourself, well, you're going to be on the fast track to not being thrown off by all of this chaotic energy with Mars being retrograde. So moving right along to the new moon in Libra, which is in your 7th house. That's on the 16th of October. New moons always represent the beginning of something new. It's the start of something new. And when it's in your 7th house, which is the 7th house of relationships, this could be a new business partner. This could be a new one-on-one client. This could even be a new long-term partner, so life partner or a spouse. And with this being opposed by Mars in retrograde, you might find that this new relationship of sorts is actually receiving some sort of opposition or disapproval from someone in your life. And it could be a public receival sort of thing, where the 7th house represents the public, because that's the furthest away from you. So this could not be received well by the public if you're someone who's in the public eye, or it could simply be someone in your life who just doesn't approve. And even if they don't approve, it doesn't mean don't go ahead with whatever new relationship you're embarking on. It just means that it might take until after Mars retrograde until this other person or these other people come around to the idea. By all means, don't let anything stop you. But with the new moon in the 7th house, if it's not a new relationship or a new business partner or what have you, it could be a new beginning in the life of your current life partner or spouse, because the 7th house rules your partner's house. So that's effectively their 1st house. So let's just say, you've got the new beginning there for your partner. Maybe your partner has a new job opportunity, or they're working on themselves, or there's just some fresh new beginning for them, which, will be harmonious in nature, but it might have a rocky start with that Mars opposition. Now you have Venus transiting your 6th house for almost the entire month of October. and the 6th house rules your daily work environment. It rules your employees, if you have employees, any help that you hire, whether that's a nanny or repairman or woman. It also rules pets. So with Venus being in your 6th house, you might just find that this area of your life is going smoothly. It's not a big deal. There's nothing to really report with Venus transiting that house. But if you have been experiencing some discord with those areas, so with your employees, even, you know, if there's been issues with your pets or issues with the people that you've hired to help you, you might find that that starts being ironed out now and going a bit more smoothly. Now for the fun part, which is Mercury retrograde in your 8th house. This is the secret house. It's the taboo house. It's a house of sex, occult knowledge, mutual resources. It's the house of boring stuff as well, like taxes, and it also rules over inheritances and other things such as like your ancestry, your lineage, especially related to your mother's side, and it rules over astrology, psychology, and on the deep front, it rules over psychological pain and trauma that you've buried really deep. So with Mercury retrograde in your 8th house, you may discover some huge secret, and this could be about your partner. So anyone that you're in a relationship with, you could discover a secret from them, whether that's due to your own research, aka snooping, or it could be that someone shares a very deep and personal secret with you. Now, whenever Mercury is retrograde, you need to exercise caution in relation to all things mercurial in nature. So documents, paperwork, anything to do with taxes, anything to do with your mutual resources. It also rules investments as well. And basically all kinds of paperwork that relate to those areas, so tax, inheritance, partner, etc. Those things are likely to either need revising, looking over, tweaking. You might need to supply more documentation. You might have put in your tax return information and thought that it was all done, only to be told that, hey, you're missing this, you're missing that. You might lose important paperwork. That's definitely a huge downside of Mercury being in retrograde. You could swear that you had some important paperwork, but you just can't find it, and you've looked absolutely everywhere. Don't worry, it will turn up, but it won't turn up until Mercury is direct again, which will be on the 3rd or 4th of November. Add 2 weeks to that, because you've got the post-phase shadow period. So by mid to end of November, whatever important documentation you have lost, you will find. Now, a word of warning, I would advise that you don't invest in anything that is new at this time, with whether that's investing by yourself or because the 8th house rules investments, or specifically and especially doing joint investments with your partner or with anyone else's resources. I would not be moving cash around at this time. I actually wouldn't even be moving around any kind of important documentation at this time, because there's such a huge chance that it will go missing, and that's obviously going to be super annoying for you. Now, on the more psychological side, or on the deeper side, you may suddenly have thoughts and feelings be dredged up surrounding like a deep psychological trauma or issue that you buried a very, very long time ago. And make sure you are working through these issues for you, Aries, because Mars rules the 8th house as well. Mars is a ruler of Scorpio, alongside Pluto, and all of this is going to be interconnected. The more that you do the inner work, the more easily things will start moving and manifesting for you on the external front, because we manifest what is on the internal into our external realm. That went a lot more deep than what I was intending for this video, but nonetheless, moving on to your full moon in the second house in Taurus on the 31st of October. It's Halloween, and the full moon is actually conjunct Uranus, and it's an exact conjunction as well, which I don't know, I'm really excited about, even though it's going to be chaotic. But back to you guys. Having that happen in your second house, it may simply mean that something to do with your finances reaches a climax or comes full circle, because the second house is related to your finances and how you make money. It's also related to your valuables and your possessions. And when we have Uranus conjunct the moon, well, Uranus represents sudden changes and like swift upheavals. So having this conjunction with the moon in the second house, you could see a sudden departure with a valuable or possession, whether that's for good or bad. You know, it could obviously like disappear somehow, something could happen to it, or you could sell it and make a lot of money. With the full moon in Taurus in the second, you could suddenly see financial gain from something that you had commenced earlier. It could be something that you commenced 1 year ago or 6 months ago, around like the 22nd of April, when we had the new moon in Taurus, because this is like the culmination of that 6-month period. Or it could have even have been something from 18 months ago. So Aries, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Like I said in the intro, I am on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you're interested in a personalized astrology reading or even a personalized tarot reading, I will pop a link in the description and you can head there to book. Thanks so much, Aries, and have a great October.